So the Congress is set to have its first non-Gandhi chief in nearly 25 years as Mallikarjun Kharge and Shashi Tharoor face off in the party's internal elections today. At least 9,200 Congress delegates across the country will be casting their votes to elect the party's 37th president since independence in an election that could change the course of the Congress party. While none of the Gandhis are contesting, Kharge is seen as the approved candidate. Both Shashi Tharoor and Mallikarjun Kharge have reiterated the non-involvement of the Gandhis, but Tharoor has pointed out to what he called difference in treatment, bias as well as uneven playing field as he is contesting for the Congress chief post. Kharge has declared that he believes in collective decision-making and would take the guidance of the Gandhis. Elections are being held 3 years after Rahul Gandhi stepped down from the top post after the second straight election defeat of the Congress in 2019. The 52-year-old, who's currently leading the party's Bharat Jodo Yatra, has firmly refused to return as president despite pressure and requests from other leaders. Well, let's go across to Sunil Prabhu now for more. And Sunil, so finally, after 3 years after Rahul Gandhi stepped down, today election for a new Congress president, and it's after 22 years that you're covering a Congress president election.
That's right, Gargi. It's a rare occasion. This is definitely something that one remembers of covering when Mr. Sitaram Kesri, as well as Sharad Pawar and Rajesh Pilot. Of course, the other one was when Mr. Jitendra Prasad as well as Sonia Gandhi contested against each other. But definitely this is a rare occasion in the Congress party, and hopefully it will help the Congress party to revive. Many within the party don't believe it has actually made much of a difference. It hasn't really helped to a great extent. But the fact is that one way or the other, the Congress has to get its act together and be able to, take on the Narendra Modi led BJP government at the center. Whether this, backroom efforts of having Mr. Kharge, who seemed to be the approved candidate, as you put it, wins. And then, of course, the main point, as I was pointing out, is that those who are within the Congress party have some kind of connect with Mr. Tharoor. He's been talking about all the correct things, about the high command culture, about the fact that there needs to be elections in the CWC, democratizing the party. Hopefully, this will make the senior party leaders have some sense and hope that the Congress is able to take on the BJP in this entire exercise.
Right, Sunil. So one of the big complaints that many Congress people had was about inaccessibility of the top and of Sonia Gandhi, given that also her health was something of a worry, and decision making was something also seen as very slow in the Congress. So now with what this means now would be a hands-on president is what Congress party members are hoping for with the election. And as the last time around when you covered the elections between Jitendra Prasad and Sonia Gandhi, it was a foregone conclusion. This time also it seems to be a foregone conclusion of Mr. Kharge becoming the president. And that's the hope, that it will be somebody who's hands-on and decision-making would be faster.
That's right, Gargi. It's more a foregone conclusion. But I'm not too sure about the fact when you say that there'll be a more hands-on president. Yes, he might be accessible to that extent. Decision-making, because as you are well aware, the remote control. Sonia Gandhi was the president, but everything was being taken in terms of decision by Tughlaq Road, where Rahul Gandhi resides. That was the power center. It was Rahul and Priyanka Gandhi who had their way on every issue, be it on Punjab, be it on Uttar Pradesh, any particular decision that they have taken. And whether that remote control will be taken away or not is highly unlikely, because as you...
All right. Well, we'll go across now to Harsha as well. Harsha joins us from Jaipur. And Harsha, just a few weeks ago, it had seemed that the new president of the Congress would be from Rajasthan, Ashok Gehlot. He's someone who actually engineered to get himself out of the race in a sense. Tell us about, the elections there, and the voting will begin in a short while.
Yes, absolutely. There will be 414 PCC members who will be voting, which are PCC members and former PCC chiefs. And of course, that includes Sachin Pilot. In fact, I'm outside his house right now. It's quite quiet. It's pretty early in the morning right now for everyone, I think, to get going because, yes, the elections do begin at 10 o'clock. But the impact of this election definitely led to certain political fallout in Rajasthan. So we do know that Ashok Gehlot, who really was the front runner for the post, then had to step aside because after that what happened was that the MLAs, a certain section of the MLAs refused to attend that CLP meeting. They said they wanted Ashok Gehlot to continue as Chief Minister, and then the standoff between the Gehlot faction and those supporting Sachin Pilot. Also, Rajasthan goes into the election in 2023. So it's important, the political ramifications of this election are probably more important for Rajasthan than they are perhaps for the Congress at a national level.
All right, it's early in the morning, as you said, not much activity happening right now, but 10 o'clock is when that election will begin and when the delegates will start coming in to file put their votes in. Thank you so much both for joining us, and of course we'll return to you for more updates. We're also joined by Shrija, who's outside Mr. Kharge's residence. Shrija, tell us what's happening there. Also, Rahul Gandhi will be casting his vote while he's on the Bharat Jodo Yatra.
Well, that's right. In fact, we're reporting right outside Mr. Kharge's residence, but of course, there's not really much of an activity that we're witnessing right here, and he hasn't really stepped out of his residence. What we're hearing from his team is that, he will be stepping out of his residence and going to Queen's Road, where the KPCC office is, in Bengaluru. He will cast his vote around 10 a.m. Between 10 and 10:30 a.m. is what we're given to understand. And yes, remember, there have been talks about how he has been the consensus candidate because he was the chosen one as far as the Gandhis are concerned. But all this while, he has only simply denied that. Even during the yesterday's press conference, he made it very clear, saying that they're just simply two candidates who are contesting for this Congress president polls. But there is, of course, not really the chosen one as far as Mr. Kharge has clarified. And also, like you pointed out, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, he will be exercising his vote at a poll booth set up in Sanganakallu. This is in Ballari district of Karnataka. Now, that is where the last leg of Bharat Jodo Yatra, this is in Karnataka, comes to an end. And along with him, there are various other, Congress candidates as well. Basically, Congress delegates, at least about 40 to 45 is what we are given to understand. Delegates who will be exercising their vote to elect the new Congress president. So on the whole, put together here in Karnataka, this is including the delegates, the yatris, they all will cast the vote. While they will cast the vote in Ballari, you have at least about 503 Congress delegates who will be casting their vote here in Bengaluru.
All right, Shrija, thanks so much for joining us. Shrija, they're reporting from outside, who many see is going to be the next president of the Congress party, Mallikarjun Kharge. Well, the other big story this morning, Delhi Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia has been summoned by probe agency CBI at 11 a.m. today for questioning in the controversial Delhi excise policy case. In a press conference soon after the summons, Aam Aadmi Party senior leader Saurabh Bhardwaj had claimed that Mr. Sisodia would be arrested today, adding that the summons are linked to the upcoming Gujarat elections where the BJP and Aam Aadmi Party are in direct contest. The BJP is scared, is what he said. Mr. Sisodia, reacting to the summons for today, had tweeted that nothing was found in the CBI raids that took place earlier on his residence and even at his bank locker, but that he will be offering full cooperation to the investigative agency. Delhi's Deputy Chief Minister has also written a letter to the Lieutenant Governor of Delhi, Vinay Kumar Saxena, raising concerns over the law and order situation in the national capital. In his letter, he urged the LG to pay attention to the law and order situation, stating that cases of rape and murders are on the rise in the capital. So Manish Sisodia has been summoned by the CBI for questioning today in that alleged Delhi liquor policy scam case. Also, remember, 3 people have already been arrested in this particular scam.
Hello and welcome to Turning Point. The World Cup tune-up for India begins. They take on Australia in the first game at Brisbane this morning, a ground that has happy memories for the team. They won a memorable test match in January last year, but this is a different format. Australia are the current holders of the T20 World Cup. India are the number one T20 side. No team has managed to defend the title. None of the hosts have yet won the cup. India is looking to win an ICC title for the first time since 2013. The road to World Cup for India has been laden with injuries. Jasprit Bumrah will be the biggest miss. So that is the match that's coming up at 9:30 this morning. India taking on Australia in the warm-up at Gabba. India start their campaign here and they will look ahead to building the perfect team for the match against Pakistan and the tournament ahead. This morning, I am joined by Amrit Mathur, the ex-general manager of BCCI, and Indian cricket fan Rishi Chhabra, to look ahead to India's World Cup, in how India has shaped up for World Cup. Amrit, we had a T20 World Cup a year ago, and the reason we are having one this year is because the schedule shifted due to COVID. How much has the Indian team changed since then to now?
Well, considering the amount of cricket that is played, everything has changed. Just see what happened yesterday with Namibia and Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka won the Asia Cup maybe a month ago, and they were shocked by a team which was not fancied to, be pushing Sri Lanka. So I think the World Cup is a World Cup. It's a big occasion. It's not just the matches and the teams, but also the sense of being on the world stage. So there's an added pressure because of the occasion, not just the matches. And I think it'll be interesting to see how the teams pan out. And the T20 format is uncertain, and on a given day, Namibia can shock a team. So maybe there'll be more surprises coming. True. But I think the Indian team is well placed. We've been there almost 2 weeks. We've rested. We've been away from the frantic scheduling which we saw with South Africa and other games non-stop we've been playing. So you mentioned rightly that there is an injury issue. There is an issue of Indian bowling because of Bumrah's absence. But no team is without problems. I think Australia has bigger problems. Maxwell, Steve Smith, Finch not making runs. So I think it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a massive cocktail of uncertainty, shocks, surprises, and we all look forward to that.
Rishi, let me ask you about India's opponent today, Australia. They are the defending champions, but do they look as mean as they looked last time around?
Well, Rita, first of all, the World Cup that happened in Dubai was very different because the team that won the toss, they actually ended up winning the matches, which isn't going to happen this time in Australia because this is a proper cricketing country where a lot of cricket is played. And coming to Australia, you can never, count out Australia in an ICC tournament, even though they lost the T20 series against England. But I believe, Australia is one of the favorites, and I definitely see them making it at least to the semi-finals, if not to the finals. So I'm really hoping that, India put up a good performance because this is the time to, try and match the momentum, and this is the time to get their boots up for the upcoming World Cup.
Amrit, let me come back to you about, India's big worry. Would you say it's the Bumrah size hole that India has to fill right now?
Obviously, he's the number one T20 bowler and India's go-to bowler whenever you need a breakthrough or a wicket. So he will be missed desperately. I think adding to India's problems are maybe the Harshal Patel and Bhuvneshwar, who are death bowlers, are not at the top of the games at the moment, as we saw. So I think bowling is a worry. But as I said, every team has a problem, whether it's England, whether it's Australia itself, India. So I think it's how you make up for those issues, how you find the right people to step in, take that opportunity and take your team forward. So that's key. But I agree that, Australia and the World Cup in Australia is vastly different from what happened in Dubai. The conditions are very, very different. In fact, Brisbane is very different from Bombay. So I think it'll be great to see how, and with bigger grounds in Australia, teams have to adjust their strategy. So it's a very different kind of competition. And I would be very interested in knowing from the Indian perspective, how well Suryakumar Yadav carries his top form into the World Cup. This is a big test. He's, in the last few years, our T20 batting has revolved around Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, and now we have a new star who's, playing brilliantly. So I think it'll be very interesting to see how he copes and how he sort of carries the Indian batting in this high-pressure, intense World Cup.
Sharma has called him India's X factor, and he hopes as a captain that Suryakumar Yadav is able to carry his supreme form into the World Cup. Amrit, let me also ask you about India's bowling X factor. Would you say it will be Arshdeep Singh? Because what we understand at the moment is more or less Arshdeep Singh and Bhuvneshwar Kumar are going to play, and India is looking for auditioning the third seamer, and they'll then have to look at Mohammad Shami, how he shapes up, and Harshal Patel. Between the two of them, there will be one who will be picked. But Arshdeep Singh, talk to us about him.
Listen, it's been great, his quick sort of journey from IPL to India. 2 seasons, he's a youngster. He's just come out of under-19 cricket and 2 good seasons with Kings, and he's playing for India. But it's a great test for him. It's one thing to be playing IPL, one thing to be playing bilateral contests, and the World Cup, as I said, is a big stage. There's more pressure, there's more expectation. So I think it's a great test for him and a great opportunity. But I think with Bumrah's absence, the team would, I think, first look at Shami as your main bowler. Shami has not been a part of your T20 combination for a while, but I think you need his experience, his sort of skills.
Right.
Now that Bumrah is not there, and he's also had issues with COVID and injuries and things, and he's just sort of flown into Australia. So I think it'll be interesting to see how he copes. So there are 2 games before the World Cup starts today and after 2 days. So we have to sort out all your balance, your fitness issues, who's the best person to play in a given situation. So I think Shami is key when we look at filling the hole left by his absence.
Amrit, let me also ask you about the format itself. The T20 format we have seen has evolved over the last few years. Players have found new strategies. Talk to us a little bit about Team India. Has it evolved a lot since the last time they played in the ICC World Cup?
Yeah, I think the strategy and how you approach a T20 game is changing. It's changing in the IPL. It's changing how England is playing. That now the teams sort of decide that they're going to treat the entire 20 overs as some kind of a power play. You have 7 batsmen, and you have 20 overs to express yourself. So go out and attack from over 1. There's no sort of slowing down in the middle overs. And you expect your finishers to come and have a major at the end. So I think most teams are adopting this strategy that we're going to be aggressive, we're going to attack right from the beginning. So that's a major change I think in the last 4 or 5 years, and most of the teams are adopting that strategy. So let's see how it. But this strategy only works provided you have a good start. If you lose 2 wickets, then you couldn't be attacking for those 20 overs. So I think it's interesting, and. But the general feeling is that the teams are going to just go play aggressive and try and get a 180, 190 on the board.
I think you have made a very interesting point that, the teams are attacking from the beginning, and hence they need to have batters till the end. And in Australia, you can expect to lose wickets, your openers very early, and hence who comes in towards the tail end becomes important. Rishi, let me come to you for a question from a fan's perspective. What does it really mean to have a World Cup without the likes of Bumrah, Bairstow, Gale, Bravo, all of them missing in action here?
Well, Rika, it does feel different because, these are the T20 stars that have always performed on the big stage. And all of a sudden, you see a chunk of these players not playing in the T20 World Cup. But that's how, the format is. It's been what, 15 years since the first T20 World Cup that happened in South Africa, and a lot has changed. But I think now is the time for the youngsters to perform. And the stage is set for a lot of players to, showcase their skill, especially the likes of Suryakumar Yadav, Hardik Pandya, who work really hard. And, we have a very balanced side. So really looking forward to how Team India performs this World Cup.
Thank you very much, Amrit and Rishi, for joining me at this hour. We are looking ahead to India's first warm-up game against Australia. India has 2 games against Australia and New Zealand to find their final 11 for the tournament. With that, time for a quick break. On the show, more on the other side. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. Now in UP Sambhal, a complaint was filed against AIMIM's UP chief Shaukat Ali by the Sambhal police for an alleged disrespectful derogatory statement against the Hindu community in a viral video. This report by my colleague Saurabh Shukla.
यकीनन हम दो शादी करते हैं तो दोनों बीवी को समाज में इज्जत देते हैं। तुम एक शादी करते हो किसी को नहीं बताते हो, ना उसको इज्जत देते हो।
This controversial statement by UP President of Owaisi's party, AIMIM, Shaukat Ali, in Sambhal, UP, has evoked strong reactions from politicians, but so far nothing but silence from party chief Owaisi, who is usually quick to criticize hate speeches by leaders of other parties. The police too were quick to react in this case. The FIR was filed the day after the speech, though it took them 4 to 5 days to file an FIR against the hate speech of Bajrang Muni in UP's Sitapur. And there are several incidents of hate speeches by Yati Narsinghanand, but despite of clear evidence, the police is yet to file an FIR. Shaukat Ali has been charged with spreading disharmony in society and disturbing communal harmony.
संभल पुलिस के द्वारा एक वायरल वीडियो का संज्ञान लेते हुए शौकत अली जो आजमगढ़ के रहने वाले हैं, इनके द्वारा संभल कस्बे में एक प्राइवेट कार्यक्रम के दौरान सांप्रदायिक सौहार्द बिगाड़ने वाली कतिपय बातें कही गई। इसका एक वीडियो सोशल मीडिया में वायरल हो रहा है। एक प्राइवेट व्यक्ति की तहरीर पर शौकत अली के विरुद्ध धारा 153A, 295A और 188 के अंतर्गत FIR पंजीकृत किया गया है।
घटिया किस्म की बयानबाजी करने वालों पर प्रतिक्रिया न लिया करे तो अच्छा रहेगा, लेकिन कुछ लोग देश में गिने चुने, अगर उंगलियों में गिनना हो तो गिन लीजिए, 5-7 लोग ऐसे हो गए हैं जिनको किसी न किसी बहाने मीडिया में बने रहना है और मीडिया में बने रहने के लिए ऐसे गैर जिम्मेदाराना बयान देते हैं जिनके खिलाफ कानूनी कार्रवाई होनी चाहिए। और वह इस प्रकार का बयान देने के बाद जिन राज्यों में रहते हैं उन राज्य की सरकारों की गलत नीतियों के कारण, तुष्टीकरण की नीति के कारण बचे रहते हैं, उनके खिलाफ कार्रवाई नहीं होती।
After the outrage, Shaukat Ali claimed his statement was being misinterpreted.
आपको मालूम है कि आज से 5 दिन पहले दिल्ली के अंदर एक साधु ने VHP का प्रोग्राम था, उसमें कहा कि मुसलमानों को चुन चुन करके मारना है। ये 14 शादियां करते हैं, 40 बच्चे पैदा करते हैं। तो मैंने उन लोगों को कहा है जो लोग ऐसा करते हैं, मैंने किसी धर्म विशेष को ये बात नहीं कही।
So far, neither Owaisi nor his party have reacted to Shaukat Ali's distasteful comments. With Anwar Kamal and Saurabh Shukla, Osama Shah for NDTV.
Now, some very disturbing news coming in from Lucknow, where there's been a gang rape of a teenage girl. She was allegedly gang raped by an auto driver and his accomplice. This took place on Saturday evening in central Lucknow. Well, let's go across to Alok for more details. And Alok, this girl was on her way back from tuitions and then she had flagged down this auto. Give us the details.
Well, yes, Gargi, I've read the FIR. The FIR says that the girl herself has filed the FIR. She says that on Saturday, like her usual routine, she had gone to a part of Lucknow to take tuition. And while returning, as usual, she flagged down an auto. And because, shared autos run in smaller towns or cities like Lucknow. So she got into the auto even though there was another man there because she assumed it was a shared auto. And then she says in the FIR that the auto went on the designated route for a while and then diverted. So when the auto driver diverted the route, she got suspicious and she started shouting, at which point of time she says in the FIR that she was assaulted, gagged, and then she was taken to an isolated area a few kilometers away and raped there for a full 3 hours by both men. And the FIR then says that she was hit, assaulted, hit on the head. And then after that, she was thrown out of the auto at another prominent intersection in Lucknow, and also threatened before this that if she opened her mouth, these people would get back to her and kill her, etc. Now, curiously, the next part of the FIR says that after this happened, she went to a police vehicle, which is on Saturday evening. You know, these emergency response vehicles that we call 112 in Uttar Pradesh.
Right.
Earlier, we used to call them dial 100. And she says that those people investigated a little, took her to the spot where she was thrown out of, and then asked her to go home because her condition was becoming worse. Now, that's curious because this is an alleged rape case. Why would the police do something like this? On social media, some are in fact saying that, you know, while asking why it took the police a full 24 hours to file the FIR. The FIR was filed yesterday. Sections of gang rape, abduction, etc. have been applied. The girl was sent for a medical yesterday night, and the police say that they have formed teams to investigate, identify the accused, and to arrest them.
All right. Thanks so much for joining us, Alok, there with those details. So a terrible rape there with this teenager claiming that she was gang raped after returning from tuition. Also questions over how the police handled this case. Now, staying with the UP, several bus depots and railway stations across the state witnessed chaos on Friday and Saturday as lakhs of candidates for a major UP examination traveled to their exam centres and then returned after appearing for the exams. Over 35 lakh people across the state had registered for the two-day exam, a massive number. Most of them complained that the Adityanath government did not make arrangements for their travel, a charge the government has denied despite hundreds of viral videos showing the candidates traveling in jam-packed trains and buses.
Chaos across railway stations and bus depots in UP. As lakhs of candidates travelled to appear for an exam that would qualify them for UP government jobs. But most candidates struggle to reach exam centres in different cities. The Adityanath government's claims of adequate transport proved to be false. These visuals, shot on Saturday night at the Jhansi railway station in southern UP, showed platforms packed with candidates desperately trying to board trains. Similar visuals 500 kilometers away at the Hapur railway station in western UP on Saturday night and again on Sunday afternoon, where candidates were filmed making a dash for trains already in motion.
सर बहुत बुरी व्यवस्था थी ट्रेन की। अच्छा। इसमें बहुत खतरे नुकसान का भी काम था क्योंकि ट्रेन में जगह नहीं मिल पा रही थी, चढ़ना भी मुश्किल हो गया था और इसी वजह से बहुत दिक्कत भी हुई थी। इतनी भीड़ थी कम से कम छोटे से उसमें डिब्बे में इतनी भीड़ कम से कम 200 लोग चढ़ गए थे। अब बताइए आप कैसे खड़े हो सकते हैं? सरकार को ये तो व्यवस्था करनी चाहिए कि छात्र या छात्राएं जाएंगी कैसे।
आज सुबह प्रयाग से 1 बजे ट्रेन पकड़े थे और सुबह 6 बजे पहुंचे। आते वक्त बहुत दिक्कत हुई थी, ट्रेन में खड़े होने की जगह नहीं थी, काफी परीक्षार्थी चढ़ भी नहीं पाए थे ट्रेन में, बहुत ज्यादा दिक्कत हुई थी। ये समझो पूरी रास्ते एक पैर पे खड़े होके आना पड़ा, कोई ट्रेन नहीं थी, जो पहले से ट्रेन चल रही थी वही एक ट्रेन थी, कोई स्पेशल ट्रेन नहीं।
इस बार 120-200 किलोमीटर के अंदर में सेंटर देने का मतलब सर अमेठी के बच्चे का सेंटर नोएडा गया है, कैसे पेपर देने जाएगा वो।
Several opposition leaders tweeted videos and photos of the chaos, blaming the Adityanath government. The government hit back, claiming many of the videos were fake. But most candidates contested the government's version.
एक बात बताइए, सरकार ये कह रही है कि भाई हमने इंतजाम किया था, एक्स्ट्रा बस चलाई, एक्स्ट्रा ट्रेन चलाई।
कोई बात नहीं, हम लोग उतना दूर से आए लेकिन देखे तो नहीं, उतना दूर से आए, किराया भी कम नहीं लिए, पूरा लिए, जैसे सबसे लेते हैं उसी हिसाब से। हाँ
तो सुजीता जी, क्या आपको लगता है और अच्छा इंतजाम होना चाहिए था? जिससे
बिल्कुल होना चाहिए था, जब हर चीज के लिए होता है, इलेक्शन के लिए होता है, हर चीज के लिए होता तो इसके लिए भी होना चाहिए। ये तो भविष्य, हम लोगों के भविष्य के साथ खिलवाड़ होगा ना अगर नहीं होगा तो इसलिए सरकार को सोचना चाहिए ना इसके बारे में, क्योंकि सरकार को पहले से पता था 37 लाख बच्चे हैं तो उनको इसका इंतजाम पहले से करना चाहिए था ना।
Both the UP government and the Indian Railways have claimed that they did make arrangements for the exam, including running extra buses and examination special. So I'm at Lucknow's Charbagh railway station right now, and you can see that there is a examination special that is stationary at the platform and it's about to leave in some time. But I think the larger question is, given the kind of visuals that we saw the last 2 days, and given the fact that we all knew that this examination was going to be held on these dates, were the arrangements made by the railways and the government enough? And did all of these students really have to take so much trouble just to appear in an exam? I think that is the important question. With Mohammad Adnan, Vinod Gautam and camera person Rajesh Gupta, this is Alok Pandey, NDTV.
Now the big news from China, where Chinese President Xi Jinping is preparing for his third term as president, which is likely to be announced at the end of a week-long conclave. Xi Jinping walked on stage to thunderous applause on Sunday from nearly 2,300 delegates who have gathered at Beijing's Great Hall of the People for the once-in-5-year Communist Party Congress that's set to elevate him to a third term. Here's a report. Breaking with tradition, Chinese President Xi prepares for his third term as president, which is expected to be announced at the end of a week-long conclave. In a 2-hour speech made at the Communist Party Congress, which started on Sunday, the biggest response came with the applause from the 2,300 delegates that were present at the conclave when Xi addressed the issue of Taiwan. Xi slammed external interference in Taiwan and in a stern warning said it will not rule out the use of force with Taiwan to bring the self-governing island under its control.
In response to separatist activities aimed at Taiwan independence and gross provocations of external interference in Taiwan affairs, we have resolutely fought against separatism and counter-interference, demonstrating our resolve and ability to safeguard China's sovereignty and territorial integrity and to oppose Taiwan independence.
Taiwan has responded to those comments by Xi, saying Taiwan will never compromise on values of sovereignty, democracy and freedom. Xi hails Hong Kong's situation from chaos to governance, calling the situation in 2019 turbulent when the city faced massive protests with violent clashes between demonstrators and riot police. But with the national security law in 2020, activists and protesters have been jailed or forced into exile. Xi wants to maintain policies in Hong Kong.
In the face of turbulent developments in Hong Kong, the central government exercises overall jurisdiction over the special administrative regions as prescribed by China's constitution and basic law of the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region, and ensure that Hong Kong is administered by patriots. Thanks to these moves, orders have been restored in Hong Kong, marking a major turn for the better in the region.
What needed a change was China's zero-COVID policy. Something China advocates as small-time pain for long-term gains was defended by Xi even today, something that's had a huge economical cost. Xi said China puts people first in the pandemic.
In responding to the sudden outbreak of COVID-19, we put the people and their lives above all else and tenaciously pursue a dynamic zero-COVID policy in launching an all-out people's war to stop the spread of the virus.
As Xi highlighted the achievements of the past 5 years, he added what his vision and focus will be for the party to strive to meet its modernization goals to achieve what it calls the rejuvenation of the nation, calling it a Chinese-style modernization, with a pledge to build its economy its biggest challenge. Xi is expected to be named the party's general secretary following the Congress, but he won't be confirmed for a third term as China's president until an annual meeting in March. In other news, a television actress Vaishali Thakur died by suicide at her residence in Indore on Sunday. The actress was staying in Indore with her father and brother. They had, however, no clue that she would take such a drastic step. She was known for her roles in popular daily soaps like Sasural Simar Ka and Ye Rishta Kya Kehlata Hai. She had also reportedly participated in Bigg Boss.